Wilson towers above the landscape of modern American foreign policy like no other individual. The dominant personality and a seminal figure. Born in the South shortly before the Civil War, the son of a Presbyterian minister, from his youth he assiduously prepared himself for leadership. As a young man, he once said, "I have a passion of interpreting great thoughts to the world." After studying law, he earned a doctorate in history and political science at Johns Hopkins University. He became a public intellectual before the phrase was even coined, establishing a national reputation through his writing and speeches as a keen student of U.S. history and government. Drawn to the world of action, he shifted to university administration and then to politics. As president of Princeton University and subsequently governor of New Jersey, he demonstrated brilliant leadership and implemented sweeping reform programs against an entrenched opposition. Like many of his contemporaries, he was a deeply religious man. Religion gave a special fervor to his sense of personal and national destiny. He was also a practical person who quickly understood the inner workings of complex institutions and discovered how to use them to achieve his goals. Somewhat forbidding of countenance, with high cheekbones, a firm jaw, and stern eyes, he was a shy and private man who would come across as cold and even arrogant. Yet among friends he was capable of great warmth. Among those he loved, great passion. His practiced eloquence with the written and spoken word gave him a capacity to sway people matched by few U.S. leaders. Those who worked with him sometimes complained that his absorption with one matter limited his capacity to deal with other issues. His greatest flaws were his difficulty working with strong people and, once his mind was made up, a reluctance to hear their views. Wilson took over in 1912 mainly because Republicans were split between party regulars who supported Taft and progressives who backed the increasingly radical Bull Moose candidate, Theodore Roosevelt. Socialist Eugene Debs won 6% of the vote in the most radical election in U.S. history. Wilson came to power fully committed to his new freedom reform program that sought to restore equality and democracy through tariff and banking reform and curbing the power of big business.
I remember reading of a great day in the year 1775, when certain farmers took their guns in their hands and gathered in little groups along the road that led from Lexington in Massachusetts to Boston, and there quietly lay in order to intercept British troops who had come upon an errand aimed at the liberties of the colonies. And I've often heard since that day men speak of the embattled farmers at Lexington. Well, there are going to be embattled farmers again in the history of this country, not with guns in their hands, but with ballots in their hands, who are going to come back and claim the sovereignty which they share with the rest of the people of the United States. I do not wish anything I say to be understood as embattling the farmers against any other great legitimate interest in this country, because our task at the present moment is the task of understanding one another so thoroughly that there will be only one cause, only one purpose, and men acting together can lift all the levels of our political life. The farmers of this country, however...
This concludes the first part of Chapter 1.
I have seen the interests of a great many classes, especially regarding